Hello everyone and welcome to another session of AP Human Geography with Mr. Elrod. Today I got cut a little short in my last video on the different types of diffusion, so today I'm going to finish up with just some final thoughts on one more type of diffusion and show you an illustration of a specific type of cultural characteristic that diffused in the United States. So last time we were together in the last video I was talking to you about the different types of cultural diffusion. We looked at different types of expansion diffusion. We looked at relocation diffusion. So lastly, we're going to talk about this idea of what's called migrant diffusion. We look at migrant diffusion, specifically it's a type of relocation diffusion, because what we're looking at is when somebody moves from one place to another, taking different parts of culture with them. And then specifically what's going to happen is when that person moves, takes that cultural element with them, and then the cultural trait that they brought with them actually disappears from wherever they were from. So that cultural trait does not stay in the place where it began, but then it takes off in the places where it is moved to. So maybe some elements of that, or an example of that, you might see something like Buddhism, since Siddhartha Gautama actually begins his life in India. I guess modern day Nepal, some might say, or is what we would say, but in India. And so, his tradition or his religion that he begins actually moves over into China, is much more popular in China and other parts of Southeast Asia, and then is not going to be as popular in his native country of India and the native region where he's from. So that might be an example of this idea of migrant diffusion. And so if we look at this specific example in the illustration that we have here, we have 4 different types of houses you can see are going to begin here in Massachusetts. You have the salt box, 2 chimney, front gable and wing, and then the Cape Cod house. And then this chart or this map shows you over time the different types of houses and how they diffuse to different parts of the United States. Now, one of the interesting things that you'll see is that as it moves from, let's say, from Massachusetts to over here to Ohio, you'll notice that only 3 houses diffuse. The Saltbucks house does not diffuse to Ohio, so that really tells you something about maybe the weather of Ohio. It's not the same as Massachusetts, and so the Saltbox house is not needed, or the type of people that move out there, they didn't see any use for the Saltbox house. Notice also the 2 chimney house didn't make it out. It's really these smaller houses, front gable and the Cape Cod, that are going to make it out to Ohio. And then if you have the movement from Ohio to Michigan, only 2 houses make it out. You notice how the more popular house, the front gable and wing, makes it out along with the second most popular house, the Cape Cod. So you see how over time and over space, the movement of the houses from Massachusetts to these other parts of the country, depending on the people that are moving, the resources they have available to them, maybe the amount of money that they have, only certain types of homes are going to diffuse to those parts. And a lot of it has to do with what exactly is it that they need. So there must have been something about the salt box and the 2 chimney, probably something about the size of them that was not necessarily practical for the people as they moved from Ohio to Michigan. And of course, the people that were in Michigan, you notice you have 1700s to 1830 here. More than likely, the people that move here no longer have a recollection of the salt box or the 2 chimney, or at least how to build it, and so that particular cultural trait is going to be lost to the people of Michigan. And of course, since we're talking about houses, the cultural landscape as well. That's all we have for this time. Come back next time, and we're going to be talking about the ways in which culture diffuses, and when you have 2 different cultures running into each other, what happens in that particular place.